Hello guys and girls out there, wherever you are. Welcome to another totally random video. And in today's video I want to give you a quick guide, a quick tour, what you have to look out for if you want to get your first record player. Because there are some things that you need to know so that you get a good and halfway decent record player. Some people probably think, hey, a record player like this is totally fine. It costs something like, I don't know, 30, maybe 50 bucks, depending on if it has USB output so I can digitize my vinyl records. So, you know, something like this is probably enough. It also has a built-in AM/FM radio. I mean, this is really cool. It also has built-in speakers, but it also has a cinch at the back so that you can hook it up to your amplifier or your stereo system. It plays all 4 speeds, you know, 33, 45 and 78. So it seems to be a really good and decent record player, and it also says superior, right? So some people probably think, hey, a record player like this is totally fine. It's enough for me. I'm not a crazy audiophile person who wants to spend a whole lot of money on his equipment. It's totally fine. No, it's not. It is absolutely not. Because spending your money on a halfway decent record player doesn't have something to do with being audiophile. It has something to do with, well, first of all, with enjoying your music, but second of all, prolonging the life of your vinyl records. And you don't want to use your vinyl records with a record player like this, or any cheap kind of record player, no matter who built this record player. So to make this comparison, I'm going to compare... I was about to fall over. To compare this record player that costs something like, let's say 40 to 50 bucks with this one. It's a dual 704 record player. It was made in, I think, somewhere in the 70s or early 80s, something like this. It's a half automatic direct drive record player, which means the motor is sitting directly underneath the plate. And many audiophile people, since we've already been talking about audiophiles, many audiophile people believe it is better to get some kind of a belt-driven record player, which means the motor is located somewhere else, and the only connection between the motor and the plate is, you know, just like a rubber band. And the idea behind this is that there is no vibration. There are no vibrations from the motor being transferred into the plate and therefore into the music. But I experienced the exact opposite. Because the record player that I had before I got the dual 704, it was a Project Debut 3 record player. Really nicely looking record player, but it is just an overpriced piece of garbage, let me tell you this. And for some reason, the motor, this whole record player was built in such a stupid way that the vibrations of the motor have been transferred into the entire body of the record player and also ended up in the music. And no matter what I did, I couldn't eliminate this problem. So now I got this one, it's a direct drive and it works perfectly fine. So don't believe all that bullshit. I mean, belt-driven record players, they can be good, but they don't necessarily have to be good. And, you know, if you get a record player like this from the 70s or 80s, which was the high time of vinyl, those record players can definitely hold up with every modern day record player, believe me. You don't, and today they even charge you almost twice as much for the same quality that they gave you back then. So, yeah. Yeah, I hope I made my point clear. So let's jump into the kind of things. How can you identify a halfway decent or good record player? What does it need to have? First of all, every good and halfway decent record player has the ability to adjust the weight of the tone arm. So you have this weight back here and you can adjust it so that everything has the perfect weight. It's not sitting too heavy on the vinyl record, it doesn't scratch the vinyl record, and the system or the cartridge works perfectly fine. Well, with this one, as you can see, well, there is no weight and nothing to adjust. And the reason why they don't give you this ability is because you don't even have the ability to change the needle, aka the stylus, or the cartridge. Therefore, you don't need a different weight. That's what they think. But the problem is that you have the entire weight of the tone arm resting on the stylus, and therefore it's sitting on the vinyl record way too heavy. And also those kind of record players, they use a different kind of stylus. I don't know if the camera is going to focus or not. I don't think so. Yeah, maybe yes, a little bit, yeah. Well, I'm not that much of an expert, but as far as I know, the stylus of a normal decent record player, the tip is shaped in a specific way so that it is sitting in the groove and you get all the music out of the groove basically. And I also think that the tip is made out of, I don't know if it's diamond or something like this, but with those cheap record players, the tip of the stylus is actually metal. It's pure metal, and if you touch it, you also feel it, how sharp it is, and this stuff is going to scratch the hell out of your vinyls. And I have this vinyl record here. It's a nicely vinyl record. It's a cheap one, but still. Now watch what happens if I play the vinyl record with this cheap record player. See how it skips, how it's jumping? It's jumping out of the groove. Well, this can't be a good thing, don't you think? If the bass or if you play music that is too loud or the bass is too strong on a vinyl record, this thing starts to jump and skip. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And just to show you that it's not the vinyl record, we're going to play this vinyl record on this record player right now. Don't worry, I'm just touching it this way because it's just a cheap vinyl record that I'm using for demonstrations. So see, no jumping at all. Can also find a different louder spot maybe. So it works perfectly fine. So that's already the first thing. Okay, so the ability to adjust the weight of the tone arm, the ability to change the stylus. I mean, what do you do with this record player if the stylus is broken? There's nothing you can do. You have to get a new turntable or a new record player basically. and yeah, you can throw this thing away. Also, the ability to use a different cartridge, it's also very important. The next thing that you need to have is this thing right here. Anti-skating. I hope that's how you pronounce it. It could be something like this that you can adjust, but it could also be a little, I don't know, piece of string or something like this with a weight attached to it or something like this. Now, what is this? This is actually really important, and many cheap record players don't have this. If you play the vinyl record, the tone arm is, I don't know how exactly it works, but I'm just trying to briefly explain it. If you play a vinyl record, the tone arm is moving towards the center of the vinyl record, right? So this means that there is a force that is pushing the tone arm into this direction. And yeah, this means if you don't have the anti-skating or anti-skating, the tip of the needle, the tip of the stylus is always pushing against one side of the groove, which means that one side of the groove is constantly going to be, how should I say it, used off or something like this. So it just damages one side of the groove and also only one side of the stylus. And to prolong the life of your vinyls and the life of your stylus, you have the anti-skating, which applies a different force in the opposite direction, so that the stylus is sitting really nicely centered in the center of the groove. This prolongs the life of your vinyls and your stylus. Well, cheap record players, well, they don't have this kind of stuff. Let's just forget about this crap. But yeah, you need to have a record player like this that has those kinds of abilities. And yeah, I mean, adjusting the speed, well, this is something that pretty much every record player has. I would also recommend get a record player where you have the ability to lower the tone arm like so, and also lift it up like this, so you don't have to do it with the little handle right here, because this is also something that is very important to prolong the life of your vinyl records. Because let's face it, even if you think you are very, very quiet and you have a very quiet hand, well, it is really, let's say it's right there. See, you're always scratching it at least a little bit, because you can't really hold your hand still like this. So yeah, this is also something very good and very important to prolong the life of your stylus and your vinyl records. Other things, well, I don't know really how important they are. Well, if you want to replace the cartridge, for example, you want to use a better cartridge on your record player, well, you also need the ability to not only adjust the weight of the tone arm, but also to adjust the height of the tone arm, so that the stylus is sitting nicely in the groove, and yeah, that the tone arm is really 100% level if you play a vinyl record. So that's also important. Yeah, pitch control is maybe not that important, because it doesn't really prolong the life of your vinyl records. It just makes sure that that you play your vinyl records at the correct speed. So you have, in this case, you have this light, and you have to adjust the speed of the vinyl record so that it appears that those markings right here stand still. So this would be too fast, this would be too slow. So you have to adjust it so that it looks like they're standing completely still. Yeah. So that's already pretty much it. There's nothing else that you have to look out for, because if you follow those instructions, you won't end up with something like this, believe me. And don't let yourself be fooled by names, because my girlfriend, she has a dual compact stereo system with a record player on top, and you think, hey, dual, they are making really great record players, but then the stereo system has this kind of record player on top, this kind of bad quality, which is, it's not really, it's not worth the name dual. It's frustrating. So I hope I could help you a little bit. If you have more questions, or if you want to have something else covered up in a video, let me know in the comments. Maybe I make another video about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know if you want to get into vinyl and if you want to get a halfway decent record player. I also know that there are also so-called linear tracking record players. Well, they are maybe easy to use, but they are really incredibly tough to fix, and it could also be really expensive to fix those things. And you know, when it comes to the sound quality, the ones that sound good, they are also really expensive. And the only good thing about those record players, those linear tracking record players, is no matter what happens, no matter if there is an earthquake or no matter how scratched your vinyl record is, those record players just don't skip. But you know, that's pretty much all. So thanks for watching, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you like. Check out my other channel, Another Vinyl Junkie, where I play pretty much all vinyls that I have. Well, I don't play the entire vinyl record, I just play one song of each vinyl that I have, so that you can get an idea and discover new music and new artists and stuff like that. So thanks for watching, subscribe, leave a comment, and I see you in the next totally random video. Bye!